All right, everyone, welcome to our next session of the Life Skills Academy. Today's session is entitled, There Are No Potty Breaks in College, a guide to your first college class. And with me, I have two experts in college life. So I want to thank you all for coming. And without further ado, let our presenters introduce themselves.
Okay, so my name is Jacob Fraker. I'm a senior year in the undergraduate social work program. I went to community college first and then transferred here last fall here to San Jose State.
My name is Brenden Ramirez. I'm a last year graduate student. I graduated from San Jose State spring of 2016, and also, like Jacob, went to community college and came in here in the fall. So.
Cool. Yeah.
Okay, power through that. Okay. So that's our background.
So the difference between high school and college, a lot of things are similar. You're still in class, you're still with students, you're still dealing with teachers, you're still dealing with homework and deadlines and stuff. But the culture is very different, and the expectations are also very different. So in high school, there's very limited control in what you do. You go to your classes that are pretty much assigned to you. Maybe you get to pick a few electives, but you pretty much have your core classes, and that's what you go to. You're accountable to your teachers and parents. They follow up on you. They check on you. Parents want to make sure you're doing your homework. They can check on your grades. Teachers want to make sure that you're doing the best that you can do, and they're really on top of you. High school's free, which at this point in time you think, oh, whatever. But when you start having to pay for it yourself, you go, wow, wouldn't it be nice if this was free? Homework's a really big deal in high school. You got to get it in. You got to get it in on time. There's generally a lot of it. And it's kind of the bane of your day. And classes look and feel the same. Every year you kind of go through the kind of same rigmarole. Teachers and classmates, the structure of how classes are oriented are pretty much the same. But when you get to college, it's a little different. So,
in addition to that, even like with high school, you'll have teachers who are really exacting what they want. Homework has to be done in pen, things can be typed, MLA format, whatever it may be. In college, you're going to get some of the same expectations and how your work needs to be done, but some professors won't really be nitpicky with their work. I mean, you have to follow the formatting for whatever class it is, APA, MLA, which you'll all learn in college. But how you turn it in can be through a variety of things, whether it's done email, in person, or even through whatever online format you guys use, Canvas, Blackboard, things like that. In high school, you have to just bring it into class, turn it from you right now. I know some schools do use like online portals, which are different than what I've used in high school. So that similarity in there. Also, but in college as well, if you go to class and no one's going to be calling home and be like, hey, so and so didn't come into, Sociology 2 or English 1. No one's keeping track of that. Ultimately, you pay for those classes to be in there, and it's your decision to go. The intent is you go to college because you want to get education and not just mess around all the time. So everything's on you. So whether it's that late assignment, that missing that test, not doing readings, that all falls back on you, which is kind of the opposite of what you'll hear in high school. I had teachers tell me that, in college, your professors are gonna want you things turned in on time. If anything's late, it's not gonna be turned in. You can't get any points for it. It's the other way around. And from my experience in college, professors have just wanted you to turn it in as much as it is, but it's reduced. But if you want those full credits, you're gonna have to be on top of it yourself. So it's that accountability on yourself and your work ethic to keep you going.
As me and Brandon both said, we both did community college before going to CSU. Community college is cheap. For some people, it can be free with Board of Governor fee waivers and scholarships and financial aid and things like that. It can be completely free in terms of tuition. It's pretty much teaching focused. I mean, it's a very generalist approach to education. They want to teach you as much about everything as possible, and it's a really good space to kind of kick it around for a little bit. If you're not sure what you're wanting to do, not everyone knows what they want to do going from high school into college, and community colleges are that really excellent space to figure out where you want to be when you grow up, who you want to be when you grow up. There's also very low barrier of entry in order to get into community college. Pretty much everyone is accepted, which is a nice feeling. You don't get any rejection letters, which can be very hurtful to your self-esteem. CSUs are different. They're definitely more expensive. It's a mixed in terms of the teaching approach. Once you move into your upper division courses, it's very focused. Until then, you kind of still have that generalist practice. You get a little bit of both worlds, which is nice. But there is barrier to entry. They have a certain amount of acceptance rate. So many people get in, so many people don't. And so that's can be kind of tough when you're coming out of high school, depending on how your high school career went. Which is why community college is another great option to kind of beef up your GPA, beef up your resume before you worry about applying. And then UCs are even more expensive, and they are very research focused. They're very kind of higher level. They are really more elitist in terms of what work they're doing. Very high barrier. Places you have the Ivy League type colleges that are 1% acceptance rate, which is like scary and intimidating. But regardless of whatever kind of differences, wherever you want to go is where you want to go. If you want to go straight to a UC, then do that. They may have a low acceptance rate, but the reality is people get in there every single year. They accept students every single year. It's not like some years they don't. So you have just as much chance as a lot of people. And there's ways to improve it through community things and grades and that such. But if you know what you want to do out of high school, CSUs and UCs are a great option. If you don't know, community college is a great option. Don't let those kinds of barriers limit what you think you can do or where you think you can go, depending on your own individual experience. Do you have anything else to add on that?
I don't think you got it.
Okay. Next. Selecting a major. You want to talk a little bit about that?
Sure. So selecting a major, like Jacob said, community colleges are a great place to go and explore options without spending a lot of money. When I had gone into a community college, I didn't really have a declared major. I just said, give me some classes and see where I can go from that. Initially, I had thought about psychology in reality, I applied to San Jose State, got in for engineering, but then thought about it, and I was like, well, math isn't my forte, and it's kind of pricey. It's something that I'm not sure if I'm going to like. So I declined that offer and I went to community college. So I went and decided, I took a lot of classes, all the general classes. There's math, there's English. You'll have social sciences, BE courses, very similar to what you get in high school. But you have the option to select other courses. So what I had done, I had taken some anthropology classes and some psychology classes, and it kind of got me nudging towards that direction. And I was like, this is pretty interesting. I know my personal skill set I was really good at communication, like interpersonal communication and talking things out. So I kind of had an upper hand on that sense. But it wasn't until somebody mentioned the word social work. I didn't think it was a major. I was like, people who work, taking away kids and stuff like that. But I did a little more research, looked at what that title actually meant, social work, that field, what that profession was, and it was something that really pulled me in. So while I spent the 2 years in community college taking my electives, I was just looking at what I need to do to get, to be a social worker, and just hearing that words kind of clarify for me what it is I wanted to be. So sometimes it can be, you know what you want to go, what you want to do, you go right into it and you love it. That's fantastic. Sometimes you're just taking the classes, you're not sure what it is, and you'll hear something or it's something just small and it just rings to you and you're just like, hey, that's me.
So I would definitely encourage you, Brenden did, to research. And don't necessarily research majors, but research what you like to do. There's majors for literally everything out there. And there's schools that offer that. And so if there's something that you're passionate about, maybe you don't think of it as a conventional major. I didn't think social work was a major. But there's majors out there that could work for you, that could lead you to other places. Also, once you get your major, if you're in it, you get your bachelor's degree, you want to go on to your master's degree. You don't have to get a master's in what you got a bachelor's in. You can kind of diversify from there. I know a lot of people that are in the MSW program that got a political science bachelor's degree, that got a bachelor's degree in psychology and all kinds of things. I know that some person transferred into the master's program from social work and they had an engineering degree. So, you get into your bachelor's and maybe throughout your time there you realize, there's something else I want to do. That's not the end-all be-all. You can move on into your master's and really kind of go off into left field, and that's okay. Also, there's options to dual major and major and minor, depending on how much effort you want to put into your education. Not everyone is at that level, but that's okay. You can double major. I plan to double major in my master's degree, not in my bachelor's degree. So there's really cool programs out there. There's really cool educational majors and programs that can really get you wherever you want to go. So don't kind of limit yourself to like the general majors.
Just one more thing. It's okay if you change majors like I don't want to say every other semester, but if you have an idea of a major when you start community college or CSU or UC, okay, maybe in the UCs and CSUs it's a little more hard to change majors, but definitely community college, if your idea changes of a major every couple semesters or so, that's perfectly all right, because you're still taking those classes and you're still trying to figure out which it is that you want to do. There's a lot of stuff out there, so being unsure is perfectly fine. I'm sure many of the folks in this room didn't know they wanted to come work with San Jose Public Library, but here they are, and I'm sure most of them enjoy it from the looks of their faces. So just keep that in mind.
Candy, exercise, and break.
Eric's going to go ahead and...
Yeah.
So while you're here, I wanted you to take a minute and do a little exercise with me. You can pause the video, you can take a break, get something to eat. But think about that. Think about a candy bar, the Humble, Snickers, or Mars bar, or whatever. What do you need? What majors? What people do you need to make a candy bar? Think about that. Brainstorm those ideas. Just write them down and think about, well, sure, you need somebody to make the chocolate, right? But what do you need to make the chocolate? You need somebody who then farms the chocolate and somebody who processes the chocolate and then somebody who transports it. What majors do you need for that? You maybe need a business major, maybe need a major in engineering or chemistry or chemical sciences. You could spend a day just listing all those different majors and thinking about that, because our world is really interconnected right now. And so there's lots of different majors, lots of different professions that all tie together. So think about that when you're looking for selecting your majors. And like our presenter said, find something that you think you're enjoying, something you're interested in, something that you think you can do for the whole long time, because once you graduate, you'll probably be doing that for the rest of your life. So.
Next slide. Okay, so preparing for your first class can be kind of daunting, especially if you're on a wait list and there's no parking spaces, which is a pretty big reality of college life. Unless you're in a community college, it's usually pretty easy to get parking. But things to bring an open mind, especially as you move into college. You're going to experience a lot of ideas that maybe you didn't realize before, didn't fully grasp, but now they're kind of being thrown at you. So keep that open mind. Your normal pen, paper, that kind of stuff. A lot of people use their laptop or iPad nowadays, or their phone to record the lecture. So, bring what you think you need. What to expect.
So expect to know what the class is about. Expect to know the first couple of chapters of classes. I've been in classes where I show up, the syllabus was already checked out when we're done, and we're talking about, week one's discussion, and I'm like, I have no idea what this is. I thought I'm just going to come in, say here, get that ad code, and then head out. But really, we're staying in and having a lecture. So expect for you to know something about the class already with the material. May not always be the case. You may not have to, talk at all. But just prepared to do discussion, because you want to be that person in the room. Professor asks a question, calls on you, and you're just like, oh, I didn't do the readings.
The position to be in.
Yeah. Definitely just, be ready for the class to be taking place. What to know ahead of time, I think is always useful is to know due dates. Know when your first exam is. Know when homework is due. Know your classmates. If you can go online and see who you have in there. Maybe see if someone has their biography put in there, and you can check out similar interests. Really helpful. But to add on to that, Jacob.
RateMyProfessor.com is a really good website where you can go and check out how difficult your professor is, how much homework they do. Do your research on your class. Know who your professor is going to be, know the course material, know what book you're going to need. You want to be prepared because it's going to be your first experience. It's going to be a strange experience, and it's something that I still do every time I go to, the new semester and preparing for that first class, whatever it may be. I want to be as prepared as I can so that the class is easy. Otherwise, you get in this situation where you're always playing catch up with your class, and you're always like, oh, geez, I'm one chapter behind, or I'm, one assignment behind, and you don't want to be in that position as you're moving forward. Like we said, some professors are different, some are not that difficult, some are really tough, and you get into that situation, it's really hard to get out. So, be prepared. Textbooks. So textbooks are expensive, but they don't have to be. So, I never buy the book until the second week of class. So when you go to your class, you ask your professor, can I get an older version? Older versions are cheaper. And most of the time when they put out a new version, all they did was add a new cover page and a couple extra pages in the back about something random. And then they slap on an extra $100. So, if you can get an older version, get an older version. RateMyProfessor.com usually is pretty good about letting you know if you even need the textbook. So last semester, I didn't buy any textbooks because I didn't need any. I got 4.0, straight A's, no textbook. Not all professors teach from the textbook. A lot of them prefer lecture or handouts and things like that of that nature. So you don't always need the textbook. So you don't want to be spending out hundreds and hundreds of dollars every semester on something you don't necessarily need. But there's definitely classes where you need the textbook. So I've got 2 classes right now where all the test questions are based on the book. So if I don't have the book, I'm in big trouble. Most professors keep a copy or 2 of their textbook in the library. So if you're not able to access it right away, you can go make a couple copies of the chapter or take it out for a couple hours and read it. There's other options there. Get a study group. My first semester was a group of us that got together and collectively bought the book, and we just shared the book amongst ourselves. That worked because we all lived pretty much on campus, and so that was easy to do. So that may not work for your particular situation, but there's other options. Do you have anything else to add, Brenden?
Yeah. Sometimes we'll do electronic copies of the books where it's in PDF format. One person will buy that book and maybe ask for take up to a couple bucks and pitch in for it. And it's right there. Another thing that's also with your lower division, especially with math classes, they'll have a thing called an access code. So if you'll do a stats class, calculus class, whatever class it may be, they may require you to buy the book and get the ad code. In those cases, you're kind of stuck buying the book, just because if you don't have that access code, you can't access the class, you can't do the work, and it's really unfortunate. But there are some resources out there for textbooks. You can always see if you can find any scholarships for them. Even a couple of $50, $75, $100, it's helpful. That can cover maybe one book, maybe 2, depending on what it is. But definitely, like Jacob said, you may not always need the textbook. I went through most of my undergraduate degree without too many textbooks, which is pretty helpful and saved me some money. So,
preparing for your first test. Most professors in college give a study guide, so ask for a study guide, and then once you have the study guide, use it. A lot of people have it and they go, oh yeah, I have a study guide, I got to go over it, and they never do. It's a waste of time. Most professors don't try and trick you on tests. It's not like some fun game for them where they get to watch you freak out and sweat bullets as you're trying to figure out the answer to some trick question. They're usually pretty straightforward. They're there to teach. They're not there to get you. So in their lecture, they're usually pretty open about this will be on the test. This will be on the test. This exact question will be on the test. I can't tell you how many times the professor like highlighted and starred and circled like this will be on the test. And then still some people are like, oh, I didn't know that was going to be on the test. That's crazy. Why didn't he say anything? They're usually pretty straightforward. Ask about the test. Don't feel awkward asking what's going to be on the test. Is it going to be multiple choice? Is it going to be true or false? Is there going to be an essay question? You're paying for the class. You have a right to know what you're going to be dealing with. And so ask so that you can accurately prepare for whatever they're going to throw at you. Some professors only do tests. There is no homework in class, and you've got a midterm and a final. That sounds like really cool. You're like, no homework. But that means you have 2 assignments on your grade, which means if you don't do well, there is no like makeup. There's no like that nice like safety net of homework that you can kind of make up poor test scores. So sometimes those tests are extremely crucial to your grade. Other times it's not such a big deal. So when preparing for your test, find out how much of like what percentage of your grade is it going to be, how many points is it going to be, so that you can accurately prepare for how well you need to do on it and how much studying time you need to put into it.
Also, a really good thing about the first test is knowing what it is. I've had classmates who come into class surprised that there was a test that day, and I was like, yeah, it's on the syllabus, or he said about it in the last class. Weren't you there for that? And sometimes folks won't be in the class. Sometimes you won't be in the class, and you'll miss that. So knowing people in the class is helpful for that first test. Having that study group talking about it. I've gotten study guides where it's like 10 pages and you just have to fill anything in, it helps you study, and you're only see like 10 questions from that thing. So having friends help you out with that, sharing that information, super helpful. Work smarter, not harder. That's what something they say. It's a little mantra I keep in mind when I do papers, when I do tests and things like that. So just knowing what to expect and having people to, be your support with that. In college, you guys are all in the same boat. You guys are all fresh to it. You guys are all, it's all unknown territory. So why not be together in that fresh boat? Yeah.
Scholarships, apply for them. If you're worried that there's not a scholarship out there for you, there is. There's literally a scholarship for everything. There's a scholarship for like left-handed violinist. There's a scholarships for people who only wear red shoes. There's literally scholarships for everything. So your school usually will have a really nice database, either like community college or CSU, whatever. They have a really big database of here's a bunch of scholarships our school offers. And they tend to make it a little bit nicer where you can do one application and submit. But look into other programs like, Rotary clubs and, other kinds of various clubs that you can hopefully get some money out of. Also, not all scholarships are worth it. So if there's one scholarship that they'll give you $100 and you've got to do a 10-page paper for them, maybe not devote so much time to that because you could do a 10-page paper and get $1,000. So it's important to once you kind of get your big mound of scholarships, as you start going through and seeing which ones you want to devote your time to, which one are going to give the most bang for your buck, and apply like crazy. Part of that is learning how to sell yourself. Not everyone is great at selling yourself, but that's what you got to do in scholarships. You got to make yourself look great. You got to make yourself look like the best, and that's okay because you deserve it. You absolutely deserve it. So sell yourself like crazy. Don't worry about I don't want to be super pretentious and I don't want to, have a big ego. Have the biggest ego you could possibly have and apply for scholarships because that's how you stand out is when you make yourself look incredible and go, holy cow, this person does all this stuff. That's incredible. I want to give him the money. But when you kind of minimize and you try and I do pretty good, that's when you kind of get shuffled down. So don't be afraid to really put yourself out there and really just shout from the mountaintops how great you are.
Another big thing is doing your FAFSA. Some of you folks may think that I won't qualify or you're not sure what it is. It's free. It never hurts to do it. It's not that long. And there's money out there for it. That's the acronym is, what is the acronym for that?
For FAFSA?
FAFSA, yeah.
FAFSA.
FAFSA. Financial assistance for FSA, I don't know. But it's out there. You don't pay anything for it. And a lot of that money will cover your tuition. I did FAFSA several years in community college, gave me that Board of Governors fee. So I just paid $35 for like my health center fees and whatnot. That carries on over to the CSUs if you use it within a certain amount of time. I think you have up to 5 years for it. And it paid most of my tuition here, so it's not a bad deal. And honestly, I'm actually getting paid to get my master's degree. So when I finish going to school here, hopefully for the last time, I'm going to come out with a master's degree at no cost to me. So there's other programs like that can work with you. So don't be afraid to apply for anything. If you think there's nothing out there, like Jacob said, there's a bunch of scholarships, a bunch of free money that you guys can get. I'm sure your high school counselors, academic counselors can help you out with that. They should have resources available for you guys. I know mine did. There was one specific to my school that seemed, like Jacob said, it seemed like it wasn't a lot. You did a lot more work for what you got out of it, but with that navigation and with that guiding hand, it was really helpful. So scholarships are always helpful. Some of them are reoccurring. You'll get them split up over a couple of years, and that's great because it's like the extra money you forgot you applied about when you were a freshman in college, and now you're about to graduate, and you're like, oh yeah, I got another like $2,000 coming to me, this month. Awesome, there goes some rent or whatever it may be. So don't be afraid to apply for scholarships.
Clubs and organizations, much like scholarships, apply for them, get into them, and there's a club and organization for everybody. It doesn't matter what you're into. They're not all just strictly social clubs. Some of them are educational clubs. Some of them, go out and do stuff. Some of them just kind of sit around and talk. Some of them go out and do events. There's a bazillion clubs on any campus. You can create your own club. So if you're feeling like, I really think that this would be a really cool club to have, then create one of your own. That's fine. Your own organization. That's fine. Go out and do that. Be active. Apply for, for organizations. Run for office. I'm president of the Undergraduate Association for Social Work, so I get to plan my own graduation. I get to decide where we do it. I get to decide when. I get to decide who our speakers are, things like that. I get to have a hand in something that's really incredible, something that's really important to me, and I get to be in charge of it because I ran for office. So, that's what you're into, go for it. If you're into just, I'm not really into running for things, there's still clubs that you guys can just sit and chill. Like San Jose State has a Quidditch club. You can play Quidditch. There's they have a dragon boat club where they work on sailing dragon boat. It's just the amount of clubs they have for the amount of interest is just mind-boggling. So look it up, find one, and get involved. You learn to make friends outside of your discipline. So a lot of times we kind of get stuck making friends within our own major. And there's really great people there, but there's really great people everywhere. And as you get out into the world, kind of like with the candy, there's so many majors that are kind of interconnected that having that friend with an engineering degree, having that friend with an arts degree really comes in handy down the road when you are stuck in a project and you need someone with that expertise. So, that's a great way to kind of get outside of your bubble, even within your own major, and make some friends.
So clubs and organizations also look really good on resumes. So when it comes to applying for those scholarships, applying for jobs, internships, whatever it may be, that organization definitely distinguishes you from something else. It shows that you've taken an extra effort to fit something into your schedule. You may have, 15 units for a whole semester. You may have a part-time job. You may have a boyfriend, girlfriend, significant other, and you may have this club. But even then, participating in that kind of stuff gives you, I guess, that little tougher skin because you're doing a lot of stuff and you're busy and you feel a little tired, but at the end of it you have a better rounded experience. When I started community college, I just wanted to take the class I wanted to take, find my major, transfer out somewhere better, not better but bigger, newer, different. But I really started getting involved into this ASB association we had in our little satellite campus. I met a lot of cool people. I still talk to them to this day. There are different CSUs throughout the state, but it really kind of got me interested in knowing what's going on my campus. I know some schools you may apply to and go to are commuter schools where you take the classes, see your friends, and head out. But really know what's going on helps you kind of develop this grander scheme of things, like thought processes. And from there, I transferred it over to CSU, where, like Jacob, I was the undergraduate association during my time there, and now I'm the president for our graduate association. So it carries on, and I use those leadership skills and I use those communication skills I learned with the clubs in my workplaces when talking to people, and it really just helps you out. It gives you a little extra edge. So don't be afraid to try them out. It may seem a little daunting because you're a new person in a new place, people you've never even seen before, but you have a common interest, and it could be that one thing that builds a foundation for friendships that can last years. So it's never a bad thing to try.
Special opportunities. So one thing that you're going to have available in college that you may or may not had available in your high school was a lot of really cool opportunities to do stuff outside of school. So you have internships, you have travel, and you have kind of Greek life. So internships, there's a ton of internships available, whether they're major specific or just a little bit more general practice. There's tons. So I did one over the summer where I worked for a state senator out of Sacramento. I did that for a month, and they paid me $3,000. I'm in an internship now within the social work degree. It's part of my major. I work with UCSF's behavioral and mental health department. They don't pay me anything. So that's kind of the roll of the dice with internships. Sometimes you get paid, sometimes you don't. But you get just a wealth of knowledge. You get a really cool experience. You get to network with professionals who are in the field. I can't tell you how many opportunities within internships that after your internship, they go, hey, can we hire you? Can we, we'd love to just keep you on. And so you create those opportunities. So some of it might be part of your major where you're kind of required to do it. I would suggest you embrace it. Some majors don't, but I ask that you go out there and find them. If there's an internship that you really want that maybe it doesn't exist, ask. You probably won't get paid if you're having to ask for an internship, but it never hurts. It never hurts to ask and say, hey, can I come and shadow you for a little while? Can I come and just kind of work in your office and kind of get an idea of what you want to do? A lot of people who work in these kind of high-end fields, they really enjoy kind of bringing up the newer generations and sharing their knowledge. So feed on that ego of theirs. That's cool. If they want to show off and show you how cool they are with their awesome job, sweet. Thanks. Learn, take that experience and use it somewhere else. For travel, you have really awesome study abroad options where you can go to really cool places and get college credits for it. So you can go, and I had a friend that went to Spain and France. My one buddy who went to Spain was there for a year, did like a whole year there. He had an incredible time, and I went to France. Our group, like Shannon and the graduate program, she's going to New Zealand over the winter time. There's these really cool opportunities to go all over the world and study. Also, you can just go. College is, so once you get out of college, you're going to be working, and you get stuck in the 9 to 5, you get stuck in kind of your daily grind, and taking those vacations is not as easy as it used to be. So this is that kind of time to go and do a bunch of crazy stuff. It's not as expensive as you think. If you really plan it out, and we're all broke college students, so invite 15 of your friends and share one room and make it a fun experience. It's possible. And I would suggest that you get out there and really see what the world has to offer before you kind of get stuck in that nose to the grindstone mode that a lot of Americans tend to get stuck into. Greek life, I don't have a whole lot of experience with fraternities or sororities. What's cool about them, though, that you can get is, there's fraternities the same fraternity at colleges all across the nation, and so you can make nationwide friends. So if you're not planning on being stuck in California your entire life, you want to go move somewhere else, you can kind of develop those relationships and develop those friendships across the nation so that when you move on to wherever you want to go, you've got friends wherever you want to go, and that's a really cool opportunity. Anything to add?
Yes. So quick thing with Greek life, I myself, I'm not in it. I have pretty good friends who actually are. With that, like that club you have joined, last semester, Greek life, it's a group of people with the same kind of ideas, a lot of different majors. I know folks who are in the same fraternity, opposite ends of the spectrum of majors. Some are in STEM, some are in the arts, some are in business, somewhere in between. So it's a really good thing to have those connections with networking in the future. A little quick thing is if you have somebody, when your brothers, sisters, whatever it may be, in a fraternity, and you go to that house because you're doing a convention, on the other side of the state or across the country, you connect with that house and you let them know, like, hey, I'm with, I don't know the letters, and I'm not going to say anything to insult them. But, you let them know, and they're like, yeah, we'll have a guest room for you. Save you some money on hotels. You get to meet other people in your fraternity, in your sorority. And it's just a really cool bonding experience. Special opportunities. One other thing I forgot to mention with clubs and organizations was, or I guess even with this, I was a member of the Spartan Marching Band here at San Jose State. And what had happened was we traveled with the football team for most of their home games primarily. But a really cool thing is they went to a Super Bowl. They went to a bowl game in Florida, and I got to go without all expense paid. I actually got paid to be on that trip as well. So getting involved with that kind of stuff, if you have any of those musical talents, arts, it's just a good thing to go on there. And it was like the last thing I did in my undergraduate program. So I thought it was a good way to end, my college experience, was traveling with a bunch of college students, cheering on our school, out of state, all for free. So definitely get out there and see what you can do. I know internships, there are majors who don't require them whatsoever. You want to see if you can find them. You want to dig for them. Talk to professors if they know anybody in the field. Even your parents' friends, if they have, jobs in that engineering field or in that STEM position, or even with like nonprofits or working in a place like this. Start the earlier you can with your time schedule, of course, because you're going to want that experience up and now. I know applying to the job force, they're going to want you to have like a bachelor's degree, 5 years experience, 6 internships, whatever it may be. So having that repertoire early on really helps you out. And it really gets you that sense of this is what I really want to do. If you're, declared engineering or marketing as your major and you're shadowing an engineering or marketing person and you're like, oh, this actually isn't what I want to do, great. You know what it is. You can go on from there. It's never too late to change that. In some cases it may be, but you know what it's like and I don't want to do this. So you can either stay in that profession and change it from there or go, a complete 180 and do something else.
Work-life balance. That's tough. It's tough to, as you kind of move on in your educational degree, it's tough to kind of find that balance. I always give myself 2 sick days a semester where I say, it's okay for me to call in sick, and I'm not going to go to class today. I'm just going to stay home and do nothing, or I'm going to stay home and get caught up on all the homework that I didn't do this weekend because I was doing other stuff. So it's okay to treat yourself, but finding that balance of there's times where, take that day off, enjoy yourself, go out, do something fun with your friends. And then there's that time where it's you kind of have to lock the door and close the windows and just bust out those essays, bust out those papers, whatever it may be. And so that's tough. I struggle with work-life balance now, and it's an ongoing struggle that you're going to find, but it's something that you constantly need to be kind of checking in with yourself and saying, am I doing too much? Am I doing too little? And constantly adjusting that. So
in my master's program and in Jacob's undergraduate program, we have to do internship that's anywhere between 18 and 24 hours a week. That's on top of doing our full-time class schedule, which is, 15, 16 units. And then on top of that, working, and then also trying to keep that social life. So there's a lot of things that kind of go into the work-life balance that may seem really daunting, but it's doable. We just have to, Jacob said, sometimes bunker down, lock the door, focus on what it has to be. But one thing it's always important is to know yourself, to know what your limits are. I know most of you guys are kind of young and you guys have energy for days. How do you guys do it? I still don't know. But know that when you start feeling a little stressed out, when you start feeling a little tired, check in with yourself and see how things are going. Are you eating right? Are you actually brushing your teeth? Has it been a couple of days since you showered? Things like that kind of get to the sign where it's well, there's a lot going on and I don't know what to do. Your campus, whether it be a community college, CSU or UC, they have resources to help you guys out. If you feel like you're not working enough and you can't eat, they're going to have food services. You know, if you're worried about housing, whether it's on campus, off campus, there's services like that. So don't feel that you're ever in college alone. The school is there to support you. They want to educate you, and they want you to have the best education you can get at their institution. So don't ever feel like it's too much and you just have to drop out. Because that's the one thing that's hard to do. Because once you fall off that horse, and it's a high horse in college, and once you kind of fall off of it, it's a little tough to get back on. So just know that there's going to be a lot going on, but there's always someone there to help you out, whether it's a friend, faculty member, or those services your school provides. But to line things up, it's not all that bad. You know, I remember being 18, 19, and just like, if I go to bed like at 4 a.m., wake up at 8, I can go to class and schedule my time with doing papers and stuff like that. It's fine. You won't like it, but then you get a whole 3 months off for summer and you can sleep in as much as you want. So things come back to normal. You get that rest caught up and things are fine again. So, let's drop this one.
Is it worth it? Absolutely, it is worth it. But college is also not for everyone. You know, life is about doing what you want to do and being happy. And so some people try college and they go, this isn't for me. And that's okay. It's okay to not want to go to college. There's other options. I've got a friend that has a high school diploma, and that's all he has. And he works hard every day, but he brings home like $80,000, $90,000 a year. And he works hard for it. But that's what makes him happy. He's got a wife, he's got kids, he's got a beautiful home, and he didn't need college to have that. I always tell people, like, if you go to college, you get to work less and get paid more. So if you don't go to college, that's fine. You're just going to be working hard for what money you get, but it could still be a lot. But I would say it's worth it, even if you get just an AA, even if you just get a bachelor's. Not everyone has to go forward and get like 7 PhDs. You know, it's okay just to hit those, the AA and the BA, just to feel good and open just a few more doors. That's okay. So is it worth it? Absolutely. And I would encourage anyone anywhere to pursue higher education, but the reality is it's not for everyone. There's trade schools, there's other opportunities out there that you can pursue. So if college isn't working for you, that's not the end-all be-all. There's still a wonderful life out there for you. But I would encourage you to give it a try.
And if you do try college out and you find out, yeah, school's not for me, at some point you may have to go back to school. That's just a reality of the way things kind of go. That's progress. So, you know, you go to vocational school and you get a solid job doing HVAC, culinary arts, even non-technical medical field, and you're perfectly fine. You may have to go back at some point. Depending on where you live and depending on what the demand is for that field, it will pop up. So just be prepared for that, I guess. I'm not saying that you don't have to not go to college, but just things get more competitive as it is. The reason why I'm in a master's program is because I know my degree won't get me too far. So I'll either do it now or I do it in 5 years when I hit a wall. But it's not always, the first point, because you may finish high school, you may think, okay, I'm done with school. I've been doing it for the past 12 years, and I just want to break from it. That's perfectly fine, Take that time to go learn what you like, learn what you want to do, because, education is just one aspect of, growing as a person. So working in a couple different fields, traveling abroad if that's possible, and get to see, things that kind of push you to do what you want to do is always encouraged as well. But college, like Jacob said, it is worth it. It's it's hard work. It pushes you to the edge sometimes. And you're thinking to yourself like, oh, I haven't seen my friends in 2 weeks. I haven't eaten a full meal in like a couple days. I'm always on the go. But at the end of it, once you get that degree, once you get that diploma in your hand, and you can land a solid job, you're like, okay, not too bad. I did it. I can do it again if I have to. You wouldn't want to, but you can do it again, and you can. So, help.
Yeah. So, who to ask for help? Colleges are really great about having a lot of services available for you to ask for help. A lot of times they have counseling service, whether that be educational or therapeutic. That's okay. You have friends, you have family, you have professors. Most people have a really nice support network, just kind of like their own personal support network. Feel free to reach out to that. For those who don't, the school provides that support network. That's why it's really important that you get involved, that you go out there and meet new people, make new friends, because we're all going through this together, especially within your major. You're all doing the same classes. You all have the same gigantic research paper that none of you have done and is due tomorrow. So, you know, having those connections is really helpful in those stressful times. It's okay to ask for help because we're all struggling. We're all broke, we're all hungry, we're all tired. We all are stressed out to the max. So you're not alone in whatever situation you're in. Doesn't matter what major you're doing. You know, we all need those times to just kind of throw up on people, and then we go, oh, thanks. And, you know, that's all you need for the week. Or sometimes you need something more intense, and that's okay too. But, you know, hesitating to reach out for help. The school wants to help you. The school's here to make sure you succeed. Your professor wants you to succeed. Your family wants you to succeed. And so there's no problem reaching out and asking for help. And sometimes it's not always college related. I come from a background where I'm like the first one of my family to go to like an actual college. And so, you know, if I call them stressing out about college, they don't fully understand, like, oh, yeah, it sounds like it sucks. But they can't really connect. And so that's okay. Sometimes it's not about school. Sometimes I'm just pissed because I'm pissed about something. So when you're reaching out for help, it doesn't have to just be about school. It can be about you. It can be about work. It can be about whatever. But the more you engage in the college world, the more that you reach out and network, the bigger support structure you're going to have, and the easier it is to ask for help.
And just touch on the family part again. They're your family, you know, whoever that may be to you. They want to see you succeed and they want to help you out. They may not be able to relate what's going on because they may not have gone to college, or, you know, they may have gone years ago when things were a little bit easier. But they're there to help. Even if your parents seem like they're overbearing and, you know, they're just like, oh, what are you doing every day? They want to call and check in. They're always there for you. And you may have been like, oh, I'm going to go to a CSU in LA because I want to get out of, you know, San Jose or the area and I want something different. You're going to miss your parents. You're going to be thinking like, wow, I really wish I had someone to do my laundry for me or to do, you know, cook dinner. Yeah. And you're going to get homesick, and your parents are always going to be there. So just give them a call. They're going to miss you. You're going to miss them. And even if things get on like really rough, you can always talk to them because at the end of the day, they're your folks. All right. So, yeah, any questions?
Okay, so thank you so much for being here in presentations, and really appreciate all your help, and thank you for watching. And we'll continue on the website. We're going to have a lot more great presentations going on. Thanks again.